Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright, y'all. I do want to talk about the time skip real quick. By the way, it's my first video back from this year. First video this year. I took like a week vacation, but that's besides the point. I don't usually talk about my vacations, but specifically talking about the time skip, one of the biggest things that a lot of people have predicted is that the time skip was coming soon. Now, we predicted this a very long time ago, specifically after the Ishiki Otsutsuki versus Naruto's Baara mode fight. Now, one thing that I definitely do want to point out, a lot of YouTubers made videos about this. This wasn't just me, and of course, I personally believe that this was done correctly, rightfully so. The Boruto Riders came out in 2020, and they actually said the time skip was coming soon. Now, at this particular time, all we were really looking for is a very good window in time to actually have the time skip. And of course, me, just like a lot of other people, possibly believe the perfectly good time to actually have this time skip was again right after the Ishiki Otsutsuki versus Baara Naruto battle. Now, here's the thing, and this right here is a very important thing. There was a change in Boruto writers. This doesn't necessarily happen a lot of times, specifically when we talk about the Naruto series. They don't really change writers that much. Masashi Kishimoto was the writer for a very long time in Naruto. It's pretty much been that way for damn near all of it. Kodachi took over in Boruto. Kodachi essentially had a plan, I personally believe, to have a time skip after the Ishiki Otsutsuki battle. Now, because of the change in writers, we now have this confusion. Masashi Kishimoto didn't really come out at Jump Fest of 2020 and say, hey, the time skip is coming soon. I kind of thought, and along with a lot of other people, that Masashi Kishimoto would essentially kind of follow Kodachi's roadmap, kind of follow exactly what he was trying to do. I personally thought that, Masashi Kishimoto, the original Naruto writer, he was essentially going to take Boruto Shippuden or post time skip Boruto to a completely different level. But from what we have actually seen from the Boruto series up until now, Masashi Kishimoto seems like he actually does have some very good plans for pre-time skip for Boruto right now, what's happening right now in the Boruto manga. Now, I know a lot of people don't necessarily like the Boruto manga and specifically what's essentially been doing, but I personally believe, and I think a lot of you guys agree as well, the past 2 chapters, not the past 12, but the past 2 chapters have been decent from Masashi Kishimoto, actually beyond decent. It's been very good. Kawaki got a new form, Boruto got a new form, we see Naruto pulling up, Hoda's actually fighting, everything is going down, so everybody likes the last 2 chapters, but this right here is essentially, I personally believe, what Masashi Kishimoto wants to actually do before the time skip. Now, of course, we don't have any confirmation or anything like that after this specific arc we're going to have the time skip. I'm not even going to say that 100%. I have absolutely no idea, but we know for a fact that Masashi Kishimoto had some things that he wanted to do leading up until the time skip, and because of that, we can't accurately, guess or predict when specifically the time skip is going to happen. Now, a very big predicator of the time skip was supposed to be the Jump Festa. Supposed to be Jump Fest of 2021 or 2022 Jump Fest. I'm not completely sure which year they actually have it named, but a couple of weeks ago, in I believe December 20th or sometime around that time, there was Boruto Jump Festa. Now at Boruto Jump Festa, now again, same thing with the time skip theories. A lot of people, just like me, thought that we were going to get to see some sort of announcement at Jump Festa from the time skip. Turns out we didn't hear anything from Masashi Kishimoto. He was completely silent. Completely static, didn't even give an actual outro or an actual parting message to the Boruto fans. Even led to some people actually questioning if Masashi Kishimoto is genuinely the person writing the series. I'm not here to actually speculate on that. Some people even still probably think that, hey, Ikimoto is writing and hey, he has a ghostwriter. No one really completely knows. But one of the things that we do understand right now, specifically pertaining with the time skip, they didn't bring it up at all. And again, we all thought they were going to have to bring it up, but it turns out they were completely silent about it. Now, a lot of people want to see the time skip. I personally believe that it's about the lack of transparency between the Boruto writers and the actual Boruto fan base. If you say, hey, the time skip is going to be coming, and then of course you say it's coming soon, and we don't hear anything about it again for another year plus, it's like, what's going on? Not only that, also, we don't really have any sort of plans for the anime coming up this year. We don't have much plans about the manga in the future. We have absolutely no plans. Now, of course, to a certain extent, that's wanted, mainly because we don't necessarily want to have everything on all the roadmap for the Boruto series. But let's be honest, if they say there's a time skip coming, they can't go like radio silent after that. They have to bring it up. They have to actually put out some teasers, some spoilers. For example, one time they did actually say that, hey, Kawaki's coming in the future, Kawaki's coming soon. Next year, we got a bunch of things about Kawaki before he even entered the Boruto anime. Before Kawaki was even introduced, we got to see previews of Kawaki. Like literally, we got to see a whole damn trail of Kawaki and Boruto fighting 1v1 before he was actually even introduced into the actual anime. We got to hear stories about Kawaki from the Boruto writers. He was brought up at the Jump Fest, as I brought up earlier. He was also in the openings before he was actually introduced into the anime. So just a bunch of things that foreshadow, of course, Kawaki coming to the anime. Now, one of the important things that I definitely do have to point out, this is a difficult thing for the Boruto writers and the Boruto staff. It's difficult, man, because Boruto is a constant series. I know we just came off of a week where they didn't necessarily upload an episode, but Naruto and Boruto have been running for literally decades, for over a decade at this particular point. They didn't necessarily take a long break. For example, there's a lot of good animes out there that are seasonal animes. We have Attack on Titan, we have My Hero Academia, we have Demon Slayer, etc., etc. Those animes literally get months at a time to figure out exactly what the roadmap is going to be. Hey, what is the plan for the upcoming anime? Hey, what is the plan for the upcoming manga? Of course, their mangas don't necessarily stop. They're usually weekly, but it's still kind of the same thing. There isn't necessarily the burden of production on those animes like how it is on the Boruto anime, and I personally believe because of that, it's a lot harder to do things on the fly. So me personally, I'm gonna give the Boruto writers a little bit of flack and hope to the good lords that this year of Boruto we're probably going to get a time skip, but we don't fully know. But I think even greater than that, I'm hoping that this year for the Boruto anime is going to be good. Last year for the Boruto anime, they completely spoiled us. I'm not expecting anything close to that. We gotten a bunch of good fights. Of course, Kawaki versus Garo. We got to see Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen, Naruto and Sasuke versus Ishiki Otsutsuki, Barry and Naruto. We even got to see some other auxiliary fights that were absolutely hyped. For example, Boruto versus Ao, Kashin Koji versus Ishiki Otsutsuki, even though some people didn't necessarily like that, specifically the manga readers. But there's a bunch of good things. I'm not expecting that this year's anime is going to be like that, but I expect it to be passable. I expect it to be up there and competing with the likes of the My Hero Academia. It's not necessarily the Attack on Titan because it is the finale. I'm not completely sure what happened in Attack on Titan, by the way. I didn't fully read the actual manga. I'm waiting for the anime to come out, but I'm expecting Boruto to compete. I'm expecting Boruto to be in that conversation. Again, probably not, hey, anime of the year conversation like this past year, but I'm expected to be respectable. But I know I'm going to get a lot of comments in the comment section pretty much asking me, when do I think the actual time skip is probably going to happen? I've said this on my podcast, by the way. If you guys don't know, I do a podcast like literally every Tuesday. The link's going to be in my description, but I believe it's probably going to be in the fall. And another thing, I wouldn't be surprised if they announce it the next Jump Festa. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Again, there is no knowledge about this. The only reason why I'm saying that there is no knowledge about this is because there was a change in writers. The writer probably has a completely different idea of what they want to do specifically with the time skip. But for the actual time that we do have right now in the actual series, Boruto, at this particular point, we don't even know if Boruto is still weaker than Naruto. He may have actually fully surpassed Naruto. And doing all of this at age 13 isn't necessarily the best look for the Boruto anime, especially since we understand that Naruto and Sasuke are the big dogs. They're the big dogs in regards to the overall series. Probably not Boruto, but the overall series. Of course, the core fan base respects those two people as being the strongest. If Boruto is essentially surpassing them as a kid, it's not really the best look. I think power-wise, for power scaling, it would be best for the time skip to happen immediately, like as soon as possible. But that is my opinion on the whole situation. But let me know what you guys think about this topic in the comment section below. And of course, since you guys are probably going to ask me, I'm going to ask you this again in the comment section below as well. When do you guys think the time skip is actually going to happen? But it's me, your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.